In a significant development, Israel has received the remains of 2 individuals from Gaza, whom Hamas has identified as hostages. According to the Israeli Prime Minister's office, these bodies were transferred through the Red Cross and have been brought to Israel for formal identification. Earlier reports indicated that the bodies were retrieved in Gaza on Saturday. Up until this recent transfer, the remains of only 10 out of 28 deceased hostages had been returned to Israel since the implementation of a ceasefire agreement last week. This delay has rightly provoked anger within Israel, as the ceasefire terms explicitly required the return of all hostages, living or deceased. In response, Hamas has claimed that the ongoing difficulties in locating the remaining bodies are largely due to the extensive destruction caused by airstrikes in Gaza, which have left many areas in ruins. For now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt to remain closed until further notice. The government has stated that any decision to reopen the crossing will depend on the return of the final remains of the hostages and adherence to the ceasefire terms. The Rafah crossing is crucial for many Palestinians needing medical treatment or for those who are attempting to return home, making its closure a point of significant contention. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, have emphasized that Hamas must fulfill its obligations under the ceasefire agreement, noting that the exchange should include all hostages. In a controversial turn, the United States has downplayed claims that the pause in body recovery constitutes a violation of the ceasefire. This agreement was touted by then-President Donald Trump as a landmark success during his recent diplomatic visit to Israel and Egypt. Although the specific text of the agreement has not been publicly released, a leaked draft suggests that it anticipated the possibility that not all bodies would be available for immediate retrieval. Hamas has opposed this characterization, asserting that Israeli actions have made their recovery efforts challenging, citing airstrikes that have destroyed buildings and hindered access to heavy equipment necessary for recovery operations. In a stark depiction of the current situation in Gaza, UN humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher referred to the Strip as a wasteland, where individuals are left to search through the debris for missing family members and remnants of their homes, much of which have been reduced to rubble. As a part of the ceasefire arrangement mediated by the U.S., Hamas also released all 20 living hostages back to Israel. Just this past Friday, the IDF confirmed the identity of the 10th deceased hostage, Eliyahu Margalit, whose body was retrieved following his death at Nir Oz kibbutz on October 7, 2023. In conjunction with these developments, 250 Palestinian prisoners were released from Israeli facilities, while Israel also transferred 1,718 detainees back to Gaza. Hamas reported that Israel handed over the bodies of 15 Palestinians on Saturday, leading to a total of 135 bodies received on their end. On the same day, an Israeli tank shell sadly resulted in the deaths of 11 members from one Palestinian family, as reported by the Hamas-led Civil Defense Ministry. This incident marked one of the deadliest occurrences involving Israeli forces since the ceasefire began, raising further questions about the conduct of military operations. The Israeli military defended its actions, claiming that soldiers had targeted a suspicious vehicle that allegedly crossed the designated yellow line within Gaza, an area still controlled by Israeli forces. However, it remains unclear whether this vehicle did indeed cross into that territory. Given the absence of visible markers indicating the boundary, queries from the BBC regarding the exact coordinates of the incident have yet to be addressed. The Israeli military's current offensive follows the tragic events of October 7th, when Hamas militants launched an attack that resulted in the fatalities of approximately 1,200 individuals in southern Israel and the abduction of 251 others. Since that time, Reports indicate that Israeli military strikes in Gaza have led to the deaths of at least 68,000 individuals, based on figures provided by the Hamas-run health ministry, which the UN considers reliable. In a recent revelation, a UN Commission of Inquiry accused Israel of committing acts of genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza. Israel has firmly rejected this assertion, labeling the report as inaccurate and misleading. Amidst these escalating tensions and tragic circumstances, I invite you to reflect. What do you believe should happen next in this deeply complex situation? Do you think the ceasefire is holding under the current conditions, or is there more to be done? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments.